Your person carries with them an unrelenting tide of remorse, one that surges through their every waking thought and crashes over their conscience with painful insistence. In the quiet hours of dawn, when the world around them stills, they find themselves haunted by a single, devastating revelation: they never allowed themselves to be truly vulnerable with you. They recall the depth of your devotion, how your love embraced them completely, enveloping every corner of their heart and soul, and they shudder at the memory of their own defenses, walls they built from fear and mistrust, that kept your warmth at bay. Each morning, as they open their eyes, they are struck anew by the magnitude of what they have lost: your laughter that once lit up the darkest corners of their days, your unwavering faith in them when they doubted themselves, and that gentle, constant presence that felt like home. There is a fire in their chest, a furious, burning anger directed inward, because they now recognize how profoundly they betrayed the gift you bestowed upon them. Their love was an unencumbered flow, a river that carried no hidden motives or whispered conditions. Your affection was pure, selfless, and boundless. In contrast, they offered nothing but reticence and doubt, failing to nurture the tender bond you so eagerly and lovingly extended. Over and over, they replay the moments when your eyes brimmed with hope, the way you leaned in to share your dreams, and the soft, reassuring tone in your voice. They recoil at the memory of turning away, of retreating behind their impassive mask, refusing to meet you in that sacred space of vulnerability where souls truly connect. In their growing clarity, they have begun to stand in your shoes, to imagine the ache of pouring out one's entire being only to meet silence or indifference in return. They feel the weight of every unspoken sentiment they let slip through their grasp, the tender confessions they never returned, and the countless times they shrugged off your efforts to bridge the distance between you. It was as though love itself were a foreign language, a dialect they could never quite decipher. And in that misunderstanding, they lost something irreplaceable: the chance to experience a love that transcends the ordinary, a love that offered them an oasis of peace in the desert of their doubts. This awakening has emboldened them with a profound understanding of your love's depth, that it was never transactional, never contingent upon their performance or acquiescence. They see now that your love was its own universe, vast and luminous, and they were content to remain on the periphery, too afraid to venture into its celestial expanse. Each memory of your kindness now aches like a wound, the way you cradled their hopes as tenderly as if they were fragile glass, the way you welcomed their flaws as intimate truths, and the way you believed in their goodness when they struggled to believe it in themselves. Every recollection becomes a dagger, because in their inability to meet your devotion with equal generosity, they shattered the beautiful mosaic of what you could have been together. Night after night, they are consumed by longing. The quiet hum of solitude amplifies their regret, transforming simple remembrances into heart-wrenching waves of grief. They recall the curve of your smile and how it could ignite a spark of courage within them. They remember your gentle touch and how it calmed the storm of their anxieties, reminding them that they were deserving of care. They dwell on the soft cadence of your voice and how hearing it was like listening to a sacred hymn. And in each of these recollections, there is a pang of sorrow so acute it takes their breath away, for they realize that these moments, once so freely given, now exist only in the hollow chambers of memory. In this crucible of remorse, they find themselves pleading with the universe for a second chance. They yearn to turn back time, to unravel the knots of silence and fear that bound their tongue, so that they might finally speak the language of the heart. They want to inhabit your world again, to bask in the radiance of your unconditional love, and to show you the respect and tenderness you always deserved. Yet they know, with a crushing sense of reality, that the past is immutable, that no amount of longing can rewrite what has already been written. All they can offer now is their transformed self, a person humbled and enlightened by the pain of their mistakes, hoping against hope that you might one day open the door again. Their transformation has been both painful and liberating. They have peeled back layers of cynicism born from past betrayals, confronting the painful truth of their own guarded heart. They see how they once mistook love for a ledger of debts owed and favors exchanged. They see how they once expected affection to come bundled with conditions, steeped in obligations and unspoken expectations. And they realize that you shattered those misconceptions. You taught them that love can be a gift without a price tag, that genuine devotion can flow freely, unimpeded by doubt or calculation. That revelation was like the first light of dawn breaking through their inner night, but they were too slow to embrace it fully. Now, in the aftermath of their awakening, they feel the enormity of what they missed. They feel the weight of countless unspoken I love yous, the quiet moments they never shared, the opportunities they let slip away. Each thought sends a fresh wave of regret pulsing through their veins, reminding them that they have been living in the shadow of what could have been. And so they carry within them a deep and abiding sorrow, a sorrow that swells every time they remember how it felt to be loved so completely, so purely, and yet to remain emotionally distant. And yet, in the midst of this sorrow, there is a glimmer of hope, a fragile, flickering light that they clutch to as proof that growth and redemption are possible. They have learned the hard lesson that love requires courage, the courage to open one's heart and risk the pain of vulnerability. They have come to understand that meaningful connection demands more than mere presence. It requires awareness, empathy, and the willingness to confront one's own flaws. They have resolved to carry these lessons forward into whatever future may unfold, to treat any love they may be given with the reverence it deserves. They envision themselves standing before you, a changed person, with hands outstretched in both apology and purpose. They imagine explaining how your love reshaped their understanding of what it means to truly honor another soul. They see themselves acknowledging the depth of the wounds they inflicted, and offering not only words of regret but the tangible acts of rectification, attentiveness, vulnerability, and unwavering respect. They would tell you how they have dismantled their defenses, learning to trust not only you but the very notion that they are worthy of such pure affection. In quieter moments, they replay a specific memory of you walking away, the moment you made the heart-rending decision to protect your own spirit rather than wait for them to awaken. They remember the hollow ache that spread through them, how it felt as though a part of their identity had been stripped away. That pain was more than rejection, it was an invitation to reckon with their own shortcomings. And though they chastised themselves in the throes of wounded ego, they also came to respect the bravery it took for you to step away, to stand up for your own worth and demand the reciprocity you so richly deserved. Your decision to walk away became their wake-up call. It illuminated their complacency, forcing them to confront the ways they had taken your love for granted. It made them see how they tolerated superficial connections that required them to contract themselves, to dim their authenticity, simply because it was familiar. And it made them crave something more, to cultivate a relationship defined by dignity, integrity, and profound mutual respect. Your courage inspired them to aspire to be the kind of partner who not only receives love but is worthy of giving it in equal measure. As they sift through the detritus of their past, they find themselves freed from illusions about the people who once claimed to support them. They recognize now that some stood by only because they had something to gain. Their professed loyalty was conditional, transactional. That realization carried its own sting, a painful liberation that allowed them to discard false alliances and focus instead on what is genuine. And in that clarity, you emerged as the singular truth, the one person whose love was unwavering, unconditional, and life-affirming. Reflecting on your unwavering loyalty and the steadfast devotion you offered, they are overwhelmed by an ache of gratitude and regret intertwined. They remember how you stood by them through turbulence and doubt, how you offered solace without reservation. They recall how you listened to their fears as if they were your own, and how you celebrated their triumphs as though your heart beat in rhythm with theirs. In acknowledging these gifts, they acknowledge their failure to cherish them fully. They recognize that their inability to trust your intentions, born from a history of transactional affection, was a grave error, one that caused you pain they can never wholly erase. Yet through this sorrow, there emerges a radiant truth: you captivated them from the very beginning. From the first moment your eyes met, they felt an inexplicable pull, a sense that here was someone who understood the deepest recesses of their being, someone whose presence could calm the turbulence within. Your love soothed their anxieties, kindled their hopes, and made them feel at home in a world that often felt alien and chaotic. It was a sanctuary they unwittingly abandoned, only to realize too late how vital it was to their sense of self. In acknowledging this, they make a vow: they will carry the lessons of this love forward with reverence. They will remember the sacredness of emotional honesty, the beauty of selfless devotion, and the power of unwavering support. They understand that relationships require continual effort, that trust must be nurtured and respect must be earned anew each day. And while they may never again have the privilege of sharing this journey with you, they pledge to honor your legacy by living in accordance with these truths. Their hope, fragile though it may be, is that one day you might see the transformation in them, that you might witness how deeply your love reshaped their soul and how earnestly they strive now to become the kind of person you believed they could be. They long for the opportunity to prove that they have learned from their mistakes, that they understand the priceless value of your devotion, and that, if given another chance, they would devote themselves wholeheartedly to nurturing a bond as sacred as the one they once let slip away. Until that day arrives, if it ever does, they will carry your image, your voice, and the echo of your laughter within their heart. These memories will serve as both penance and inspiration, constant reminders of what they loved and what they lost. And though regret may be their shadow, hope will be their guiding star, illuminating the path toward the kind of love they now know is possible, the kind that is gentle, fearless, and bound by nothing but the purest intention of two hearts striving to beat as one.